everyone, it is day 107, right, of my study abroad adventure where we went from Prague to Vienna, and I just want you to take in this view because going into Vienna, this is what I saw as I just drove in, was the palace. But let's talk about my drive. Is first, you saw a couple statues that we missed when we were visiting Prague, so I took them in the early morning, and it was very early because I got Kristen to the train station by like 5:20. She was actually so early they didn't even have it on the timetable yet. And it was so dark, and the drive was really nice except for it took forever for the sun to come up. It wasn't until like 7:30 until the sun had finally came up. So my drive was just very long in the dark. I remember going over a lake, I believe, because it was very, very still. I doubt it was a river, and it was like a bridge of grass. Like, it felt like a natural bridge, driving over this lake with water on both sides, and it was very close. It was beautiful, but so unique and different. I wish I could take pictures for you, but I was driving, so it was really cool. And there's also a lake or an island with a church on it, and that was really cool. And with that, I don't know where, but later on we also went into fog in the early morning, like thick fog, and I don't know, because this was away from the lake at that point, and I don't know where it came from. But I thoroughly enjoyed the drive once the sun came up. And then I made it to Vienna, which first thing I went to is the big palace. I don't know how to say the name, it is German. Of the last people who were there was Frank's, this guy, the emperor, during World War I. And right now this is the Carriage House Museum, so you're seeing all the different carriages and horses that escorted the emperor and the empress around their duties. And I learned a lot. This is where I kept running the word Hungarian to find out that he was also the Hungarian king and Elizabeth was the queen. And I will definitely looking more into that history and the connection between the two, because Budapest just kept coming up because they rode to the coronation at St. Matthias's church here in the Buda side of Budapest, I think. I'm not sure. But it was pretty cool, and just so many Hungarian things. I have lots of I took pictures of the tabs too. I'm not showing them because there's no reason for you to read them, that anytime the word Hungarian or Budapest came up. So after checking out the Carriage House Museum, because it was going to close first, so I went in order of those that would close first. I went and actually saw the palace and the 40 different rooms, which is more than 40, but essentially 40 rooms that they let you tour in the palace. And they give you this little audio guide thing that you press on the number of the room and then you listen to it. You see a picture of it. So it's like everyone's walking around on their cell phones is what it looks like, because we all have it up to our ear just listening to the same recording. But it's very efficient. I actually thought it was a very good way to do this and not disturb everyone. And I think it was a good visit. It was crowded sometimes and it irritated me, but I think in the summer it would be much worse, because after that I gotta go out to the yards and you can tell where plants are supposed to be. So part of me is like, man, this must be a summer thing, so you can see all the plants. And there's other places like that too where it's like the greenery would be so nice. But even though it's all dead or gone right now, it's still beautiful. And I think it's probably cheaper and less busy right now with winter time. Here's a couple pictures of the Christmas market, and they pop up everywhere and just showing you around. It was really good. I got, actually before going into the palace maybe, or after, I got a crepe, which they had the wooden stick on a pole that they spun around to make it. It was pretty cool, and got that for lunch. It was really good. As well as I got the potato chips, that same thing in Budapest, but I don't think they were quite as good. You've seen a few pictures inside the palace. I wasn't allowed to take any pictures inside the palace, so that's that device. So that's where we're going to now jump. So that's the crepe I had. It was just a simple one. And then outside, and just so far, like you could just walk for days, which the whole courtyard open area is free. Like you could just go and explore around all you want. It's once you want to tour the museum things that you have to pay, which there's a lot of people running around exercising stuff because it's just so open and free, which was just really cool. I take pictures of the statues, but I didn't quite get them all, so hopefully you enjoy what I see. I know it's not too much, but inside the palace it was all about Franz Joseph and his wife Elizabeth for the main part, because they were like the last ruling family, I guess, but we also talked about his parents and Marie Antoinette because they had a big influence, and Napoleon. It was very interesting that it took me a little while to be like, what is this history that I know? And it finally started to click, and I was like, okay. So, very historically influential place I never quite realized, but cool to be there. I learned some things. Definitely wish I was more like into it, like wanted to learn this stuff and be into it and things. But either way, it was fantastic to be here and breathtaking. Oh my goodness. Just I don't know if you can just tell, it's just so grand, this space and the places and the beauty and everything was just marvelous. So I can't complain. It was a great visit. And so I did the palace, and then you're gonna see me head up to the zoo. They have the oldest zoo ever. I didn't get quite much of the history rundown, but I do know it is the first zoo, or maybe not the first zoo, it's at least the oldest zoo ever, and it might be the first zoo. So you're gonna see some zoo animals. The sad thing is when I was in there, my camera died, so you're gonna get some pictures from my phone towards the end, which made me very, very disappointed, but so be it. It's what happens. And I did get a charge of it later, so some of the later pictures are back to my camera, so they're much better. So yeah, here's the zoo. And the best part for me was the bunnies. They were there twice. One time up in like the farming section, so that was very, and then down in the pet zoo, but you can't pet the bunnies. They said no leaning over, no holding them, so, but you get plenty of pictures of the bunnies. They made me very happy. And that's a reindeer. I don't know how often I've actually seen real reindeer, but yeah. And the fun thing about in the zoo, so there's an exhibit for the birds or something that you go in and it's open. There's a couple different times this happened where it's like open and you're just inside, and it's like makes me really nervous. Especially I went through the bat little exhibit, which was completely dark, and you can hear them flying around, and like there's kind of a light. You saw some of those giant bats that were outside the exhibit. I don't know why. And I went in, there was a bridge thing that this is where viewpoint from that, so that's Vienna, if you can tell. I went in and it was like, oh my gosh, this is creepy, they're flying around. And then one ran into my back and I was like, yep, I'm done. And as I head out, I feel something on top of my head, and I get out and found one either pooped, puked, or dropped something on my sunglasses. Like, hallelujah, they were on my head, so they're in my hair. That's the bridge, and it would shake as you walked across it. Whew, there's the bunnies. These were at the farming part. They were so cute. But yeah, it was so disgusting. So every point from then on out, when I had to walk into something, I was kind of terrified that they were going to run into me again. So, I never thought I would not like bats, but having one run into me when I wasn't able to see was quite frightening at the moment. Huh. And chicken in a tree. And this is farm cat just sleeping. I don't think he's part of the exhibit, but he was there. It made me happy. And some bobcats. The way the zoo is shaped is triangle, and it made it really difficult to get all around, and it took up too much time because of it. But it's a very small zoo. It's easy to be done. You just have to have a path and stick to it. Other than that, I think this was just a regular zoo, but kind of chilly, not a very cold day, so it was a good day for the animals, but there's definitely some that are hiding. And when I went into the bird exhibit, it was actually really warm, like it was purposely chocolates that I felt hot and I needed to get out, and I couldn't take any pictures because every second I pull up my camera, it would get fogged up, so that's why there's no pictures from that exhibit. And the bats, well, the bats was the only picture that came out of it. But yeah, just a regular zoo. So after that, I finished up the last two things on my ticket that I had paid for. And this is just because it's Koenig. I have no idea what it says, but the Koenig name. I went to essentially it was a greenhouse. You're gonna see some pictures from it with just tropical stuff. And then there was like a desert greenhouse type thing. And they just were special exhibits, nothing too much to tell there. Interesting way. And went back to the marketplace to get another crepe. But the first one was sugar and cinnamon, but the second one I got vanilla and berries, and just they were so good. So good. and try and decide what to do because I could get Wi-Fi over there, because I was supposed to go to the Third Man Museum, but I took too long in the zoo here because of the weird triangle shape that I wasn't sure if I was going to make in time, plus make it to the church I was still supposed to do. And also the Third Man Museum, I haven't actually seen the Third Man. Looking it up, and the idea of the museum seemed interesting, just the fact that I like Hollywood movie behind the scenes stuff, but it's like I feel like I should see the movie before I actually go to this famous museum. So I didn't end up going and decided the best option is just go straight to the church, and because I needed to pick up some candy for Kristen. She said there was a store nearby and just thought that would be fun. But so I got into my car and trying to get there, I missed a turn somewhere along the way, and oh my goodness, this is when my driving around Vienna started to drive me a little bit nuts because it was so confusing. I didn't miss the turn. The road was closed, and I don't know why. There was like, this main road closed, like the police officer did not let me pass. And here's those bunnies. They made me so happy. And of course I had to take a selfie with them. Oh, bunnies. But this road was closed and I could not get around, and then I could not find my way, and it took forever to finally find the church, and then I had to find parking. Vienna was better than Prague in being able to find parking, but either way, it was not fun. And then I had to walk back to it, and there was something going on in the church, so I couldn't really get in and see a lot. I saw a little bit, and since it was dark at this point, I really couldn't see a whole lot, and at this point, it's an amazing St. Stephen Cathedral. It's a fantastic, beautiful church, but I'd be disappointed if it wasn't. At this point, I've seen so many churches, it's like, yep, this is breathtaking. I don't know what else to add on that point. So, absolutely gorgeous. But I was kind of like in a mood from all the driving and mishap. But then there was another Christmas market and lights and everything, and really, really pretty. So, and see, here's that greenhouse. So then I left and I decided to get, again, dinner at the market, which there's a picture of it later. I don't know what it was. I don't know. I couldn't read any menus. They don't have, this one did not have English-friendly stuff, but it was the closest thing to mac and cheese I've had while I've been here. Wasn't quite right, and there's like maybe onion in it, but it was good and very filling. I thought about getting potatoes with it because it was very much a small serving, and it's a good thing I didn't because it was a struggle to eat the last couple bites. It was very filling. And at this point I decided I'll go find my hostel, which maybe this is 6:30 or something, and my night turned into a disaster. My directions, trying to follow directions by paper is very, very difficult in cities that I don't know, and I can't even read the names. And especially, it's like I've said before, here in Budapest, they put the street address names on the walls of the buildings. There's no signs, and it makes it impossible to read them, and plus I don't know the language and the words. So it was really tough. It took forever. Essentially every time I would have some idea, I would like find the street, and then I'd have to drive around to figure out how to get on the street the correct way, and then I would have to find the next street and drive around, and I mean, it just took forever for me to finally find the hostel. And then I find out that there's no one there to help me in. I don't know how I'm doing, and I'm looking through it, and it says something about how there is no one, there's no reception, you're supposed to pick up the key, we notify you 24 hours in advance on how to pick up the key. And I guess I noticed that before, but I just didn't understand and just kind of dismissed it, thought, whatever, it's no big deal. So at this point, it's 8 o'clock or 8:30. It really did take me a long time. And so I'm like, okay, well, I guess I need to check my email to see how to get this key. And I Sorry, that I forgot that there was a video of singing. So anyway, I was telling you, this is me driving around and walking around before the church. And so I go to a cafe called the Magic Cafe and get tea and use the Wi-Fi. And a lady came and talked to me who knew Hungarian because she was from Romania, and just wanted, kind of danced and was silly because it was a very small and not a whole lot of people cafe. So it was weird, but she was so sweet and she kept telling me nice things the best she could and hugged me when I left. She was very, very nice. It was just kind of weird. But so then I figure it out and I have this code and this number and everything and I have a picture of it. So then I head back to the hostel and I read it and I'm trying to get in and I read it again and it's like, oh, you have to go to this different location. There's that food item. Pick up the key and or go in to this like storage unit, pick up the key in this box and then come back and blah blah. And I was like, you gotta be kidding me. And so I had to find some Wi-Fi to go find this address, and that took forever. And then I get there and this code to get in didn't work. I don't know what they wanted from me. And then finally someone came out and I was able to go in and there was no box number. Like the number was 56 and the box only went to 52. And the boxes needed keys, not code. And so this point I am frustrated out of my mind. I mean, I left the castle, or not the castle, the church maybe 6:30 and we're going on 10:30 at this point and I just want a shower and a bed. So I gave up and decided it's time to find a hotel, which a whole night long earlier I'd been thinking like maybe I should just give up, like who knows, and I even thought about just driving back to Budapest, which having a car and trying to navigate the city, I was like, maybe I should have just got train tickets, but at that point I was like, I'm happy that I have a way to just get home if I really needed to. But I didn't. I decided not to give up and just go back to Budapest. Instead, I just gave up and went and found a hotel, which is the first hotel I went to had no rooms, so that alone tells you how much trouble I had, because luckily the second one did. But I left the neighborhood that the hostel was in because I did not. It wasn't that I think it was unsafe, it was just like I kind of want to get closer to the touristy area and people who would speak English. So yeah, I found a hotel. Here's a picture of the room. Very nice, I won't lie, it wasn't very nice to be able to just crawl into a nice bed or take a really nice shower and crawl into a nice bed. And it cost for a really late night. Yeah. I would say, because of all that, I will not want to ever go back to Vienna. It was awful. It was fun in the sense of seeing the city. I got to drive through some beautiful Christmas lights so many times, and I feel like I know Vienna now after driving around it so many times. But definitely one of the most frustrating things I've ever experienced. And people, I asked for directions, so a guy tried to help me get into the hostel. The cafe people tried to help me. It's not like I was being totally stubborn in my ways. It just was a really impossible challenge. So yeah. Otherwise, it was a pretty cool day. And I'm happy to have gone. It's something that I never would have thought about doing. And yeah, so the next day I'm going to work on more Vienna stuff and then go back to Budapest. And as always, thanks for staying tuned to my adventure.